Rage of the Abyss has landed, and how is this set, well, challenging the current meta? Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't have, oh, you don't want to miss out on this, right? So we have your current OCG tier list out here for basically week 1 of the Rage of the Abyss. You know, we got the chance to kind of see things touch down out here, and how are things going? Well, looks like Temp Pi is still on the top of the food chain out here. Should you be surprised about that? Honestly, not really. Even though Second Summoning went away, deck is still doing good. As Amina has moved on into the Fiendsmith Snake Eyes deck out here, as this engine pile is just evolved into something crazy. What's actually hilarious now is Rescue Ace, which is basically contending on the top end of the meta, has actually been pushed down to A tier. Regular Snake Eyes, Fiendsmith is still in A tier as well. Momento actually still fighting pretty high up on the food chain here. Then we have Fire King as Amina, a little bit lower than the Fiendsmith variation. I'm not surprised about that. Yubel, Fiendsmith, B tier. Runic still trucking on along here as a rogue contender. We do have Atlantean Mermail water piles now moving on into contention here, which is very, very cool to see. C tier, we have Gimmick Puppets. Remember, they did lose the FTK, but that has not stopped. Well, they can still FTK, but you got to work harder for it now. But that deck is still a pretty big monster to deal with. You also have the power of Voiceless Voice. That's a strange one to still see, but, you know, even though it lost a lot of its power, the deck is still here and doing its thing. Chimera Fiendsmith still in C tier, and then D tier, we have Evil Twin Fiendsmith. Oh, okay. Centurion still trucking along down here. Thunder still making some sort of appearance, and then we have Adignister. Who let that deck out? And then we also have Infernoid trucking in the lower end of the tiers. Interesting splash on the meta, though, for what we're actually seeing here. Let's pass on over to those deck lists. To start things off here, how many Mulcharmies can you fit into a Temp Pi deck to kind of OTK? You do get the chance to see the new Dominus card making a fantastic showing. That card is very, very powerful. And, of course, Power Filters making their way on into Temp Pi down here. A lot of going second cards being jammed in here. And you do see that this build is relying on Super Poly to kind of be that board breaker option so that you can kind of clean things up. You know, you get everything done that you need to with this version of the deck, you're probably winning. Next up here, our top end of the meta here, showcasing the Amina package built into this deck. You do see Lacrima following suit out here for the Fiendsmith stuff. So also, you know, Mr. Fiendsmith being cut down to 2 now that you have the extra monster to be able to play with. You also do see Power Sync Stone down there, getting a very nice showing for what it can actually do in the meta. Yeah, we've reached that point. Ooh. All right, we also have Rescue Ace. I'm so glad to see that the only real changes here are this build is also playing and has Amina. Oh my gosh, how much as Amina can we shove into the meta here just to see what it can do? I knew it was going to be good, but it's only showing up in like the splash instances for these decks, which is actually kind of cool. A little Beatrice, I'm so glad that you could be here, and the Curry Photon for the battle phase stop. Okay, we also have our Fire King version of Fiendsmith. Do keep in mind that this is no Ukalonix in here. As much as we love the idea about Ukalonix, and as much as, you know, it's fun to have that card to help facilitate playing Purefire King, the best version of, if you're trying to play the Fire King, is going to be playing the Fiendsmith cards with it. I'm sorry. It's all about how much splashability that we can actually get with this. Next up here is Momento. You put one new card in, and they are playing the spell card in here to special summon out so that you can do goblin plays. I know, right? Just tribute a free monster, bring out the goblin friend, and you're able to just kind of start to do combo that way. That was not on my bingo sheet for this deck to have access to try to do that. But you know what? I love that. Extra little tech choices for 500. Ooh, we have Purefire King. Now this is where we can actually see the Ukalonix, you know, getting that showing in here. And of course, hey look, Aamine cards. It's almost like it's broken. You do see we are playing the Dominus trap card in here as well. You do see that the OCG does get to play the Scythe package down there as well. Remember, Scythe is a no-go in the TCG because we got that garbage ban a very, very long time ago. But interesting to take note of those heavy hitter tech choices. All right, so standard Yubel out here with Fiendsmith. You're just playing the one Lacrimosa now, built into the main deck. Yeah, not really surprised about that. Fool Warso finding its way down in the side deck because of Maxi. Yeah, looks pretty normal to me. And then, of course, your full armada of tech choices kind of get you through. You do see the one Blue Angel Tears down there with your huge, huge variety of options to be able to pull out any trap utility option you need. Ooh, Runic Stun. Triple Organism built into the main deck. Man, you really do feel like you've come full circle out here watching the stupidness that this deck has. Also, you know, the triple dimensional fissure, you know, all you gotta do is just kind of hit a high roll on, you know, your floodgates, and you're probably winning the game. Like, that's usually how things are going to go. Maximizing on the triple Frecky. Only 2 Gary. I don't know why you would only ever play 2 Gary, but okay. Ooh, our interesting Neptibus and Friends list. So this is the full combo Mermail variant that I've seen a few people kind of messing around with out here. Minstrel to look at the hand, take away hand trap, but you are gas when you're committing to playing this deck, all right? Like, if anything goes wrong in the slightest, you're dead. All right, it is cool to see the full armored Xyz package. All the other water decks I've seen have not really dedicated slots to that. Gimmick puppets. So, like I said, with the old puppet strings limited to 1, this deck can still do the FTK. You just have to play the new promo card on the Animation Chronicle card up on the second row top left. It is a cute card, but I feel like it facilitates like some really bad play sometimes. You do see this build is citing the second Argent Chaos Force down there as well, so you can kind of roll on into that if need be. Ooh, our Voiceless Voice. Not a single thing in this main deck feels like it's changed, but this build is playing. This is for Asian English, by the way. I want to point that out here, which is great, by the way, that AE is the one that had to do this. Yeah, You had to roll out the triple extra and the triple pot of prosperity to even make a showing for this weekend, which, yeah, interesting. We also have, I see. So this is where the fun stuff begins. So there's been talk of people playing the Adusta Gold with the Necro Shade to basically turbo out some different options or a little bit more speed for this deck. I love the idea of this. I've wanted to see it, and it looks like the OCG is starting to do it. I also want to give a shout out to our zombie friend down here. He's been everywhere in all these decks. I'm sure you've seen him. He's doing his job. All right, next up here, our Sprite variation of the deck, playing the Monster Reborn quick play spell card in here. We're only doing one Fiendsmith, a singular Fiendsmith in here, I guess, to just be able to. This build feels so weird looking at this, but I mean, I guess when you can. Okay, sure. Gammas and deltas, so you can do your thing for the more defensive options, but interesting. This needs optimized. Ooh, we have Centurion. You do get to play the new name in here, which is good. Maximizing on 3/3 for these. We do have triple emblem in here. We are also playing one of the other emblem as well. So everything's pretty good. You do have the double Oxwell. You are playing the level 8 now. Keep in mind your deck is still kind of Crimson Dragon Turbo. Really can't argue that at this point. Keep in mind, you know, the OCG doesn't have King Calamity. I also do see we are playing a little option in here as well, which is kind of cool. All right. Next up here, we have the Adagnister and Friends. You still get the one Mathmech Circular. The fact that the OCG still has Circular is, I think, some of the most funny garbage that you can mess around with. But it does show, hey, you know, this deck can still combo, can still do a lot of interruptions on the opponent. There's a reason why this deck was kind of dubbed the Firewall Turbo deck. Even Dark Fluid is down here. Like, take a moment to think about that. That is so crazy to think about. Our next list here is Noids with Aamine. Oh my gosh. You know, I should have known that Noids would be a facilitator for the Aamine combo. You are doing the double transaction rollback in here with the one beautiful, beautiful, beautiful counterplay card. Thank you, Mayakashi. I appreciate you. And of course, all the milling that you could ever actually want in a deck. This is toxic. If this deck goes off and you don't have, you know, like an Ash or something, yeah, scoop it up. Or just change shifter, lol. Well, that's our breakdown. What do you guys think? Please, if comment down below, tell me what you guys think. See your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Patrons! Thank you! Ah!
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.